Congratulations, you've found the QR code that led you to this video. You most likely purchased a Lionel G-Gauge ready to run battery powered set. We have two types of sets out there. One that comes with the Berkshire locomotive and tender, and the other one that's with a 440 General locomotive and tender. Irregardless of which set you have, they're all pretty much the same. We'll take a few minutes today and talk about setup and operation of this set. Before we do that, let's go ahead and take stock of what comes in the package. You've got 12 pieces of curve track, 4 pieces of straight, the locomotive and tender, whatever rolling stock comes with the set. If it's a Polar Express passenger set, it's 2 passenger cars. In this instance, we have a Polar Express freight set, so we have a gondola and a caboose. And finally, you have the wireless remote. A couple things you're going to need to get this set running is you're going to need a total of 6 C-cell batteries, and you'll need 2 AA batteries. Unfortunately, they're not included in the set, so they have to be purchased separately. The locomotive runs with 6 C-cell batteries. Would recommend getting a name brand battery. More than likely will last you a lot longer than some of the less expensive no-name brands. Same thing for the remote. Good name brand battery will keep a long life as long as you are consistent about turning it off when you're not using it and only powering it up when you are using it. So without further ado, let's get into setting the train set up and getting it operating. To assemble your track, simply place it onto a flat surface, align the pins, and squeeze the track together. It will snap into place and keep a pretty sturdy connection. Now, if you're going to use this track on plush carpet or a softer surface, we have heard from consumers in the past who say that the track will come apart. If you happen to experience this, we actually have a product at Lionel that you can obtain by contacting customer service, and it includes these small round rubber bands that we use to place around the track joints themselves. All you have to do is place this over the joint. Same color as the track, very inconspicuous there. Place it on both sides. The part number for this item is actually on the screen right now. You place these bands over top of the joints, and actually what happens is it does a real good job of keeping the track together so they don't separate on those softer surfaces. One of the other cool things is if you're using this track on hardwood floors, these little bands are made out of rubber, and they do a real good job of keeping the track in position, doesn't slide around or move on a smooth hardwood floor surface. The track that comes in the set allows you to create an oval that is 6 feet long by 55 inches wide. So it's almost 5 foot wide by 6 feet long. If you refer to the instruction manual, there's actually 3 different layouts that you can produce based upon the track that comes in the set. Now, we also offer for separate sale a left hand and a right hand manual switch, as well as additional curve and straight sections. Those part numbers are also shown on the screen now. Once you have the track completely assembled, you can go ahead and position it wherever you plan to operate the train. And the next step is to start putting batteries into the locomotive and the remote. When you assemble the track, you want to assemble 3 curves to make a 90-degree corner. So if you're making a simple oval, it's constructed out of 12 curves. If you're making a longer oval, you'll want to use 6 curves on one end, 2 or 1 straight track on either side, and an additional 6 curves on the other side to complete the loop. To place batteries in your remote, simply flip the remote over, remove the battery cover. Some of the newer remotes actually have a safety screw, a Phillips head screw. You have to use a screwdriver to remove that screw and the battery cover will come off. Inside, on the bottom, is the orientation of the batteries. So the flat side of the battery contacts the spring contact. Insert the 2 batteries, replace the battery cover, Can check to make sure that the remote has power by flipping on the button on the side, the on-off switch to on. The red LED will illuminate. If you have the dial turned in either direction, LED stays illuminated. And to conserve battery life whenever you're not using the train, just slide the switch to the off position, and batteries will last a lot longer. Next thing we need to do is get the batteries installed in the tender. So pretty simple process. On the back of the tender for the Berkshires, there's a clip on the rear tender deck. For the 440 Generals, there's a screw up on the front of the wood load, or a clip. So whether it has a clip or a screw, either way, you're going to have to move the clip or remove the battery. Slide the clip forward, lift the coal load or the wood load off the tender, and if you look down on the bottom, it actually has the orientation of the batteries. One thing that we have heard from customers previously is that some of the brand name batteries that are on the marketplace have a rather large positive terminal on the battery. And we've got these two walls in here that actually keep the battery separated and held in place firmly. Some of the customers have given us feedback that the positive terminal doesn't always connect to the negative terminal on the tender. So if you put the batteries in, put it all on the track, and it doesn't work, it's most likely the root cause of that problem is these two little walls in the battery compartment. It's really simple. Just take them out, pull them up out of the way, take them out of the tender, and install your batteries. Again, just refer to the orientation on the bottom of the tender. I'll tell you which way to put the batteries in. Once you have the batteries installed, you can go ahead and reinstall the coal load or the wood load. Make sure that the back of the tender fits down around the wall of the tender shell, and then just close the battery compartment by locking the clip or reinstalling the Phillips head screw. At this point, ready to put the train on the track and get it running. Now that we have batteries in our remote and our tender, we're ready to go ahead and get the train on the track and get it running. So you start with the locomotive. One thing I do want to point out is that every car in the set has what we call flanged wheels. And these are wheels that just have a flange on them. This is what actually keeps the train on the track, keeps it inside the rails. You want the flange to be on the inside of the two rails themselves. So go ahead and plug the, place the locomotive on the track, making sure that the flanges are in between the rails. Next we'll do the tender. Now if you get this right, it should sound like this. Real nice and smooth. If you get it wrong, it's going to sound like this. That's not what we're looking for. We want to make sure that the flanges are between the rails and that the tender's on the track. Next thing we'll do is we'll take this tether, which brings the battery power from the tender to the locomotive, and we'll plug it into a hole right here in the back of the locomotive underneath the cab deck. Take the plug, only inserts one way. The minute that you plug that in, the red light inside the cab of the locomotive that represents the firebox glow will start flickering. Flickering LED means that we're good, it's receiving power, and it's ready to run. So next thing we want to do is just couple the locomotive and tender together. We can place the rest of the cars in the set on the track. Couple them up. We're almost there. Next thing we'll do is we'll turn our remote on. Make sure that the throttle is in the top dead center position facing the red LED. And the only thing that we need to do now is press the startup button on the locomotive. So just in front of the cab on both the Berkshire and the 440 General is a little button. As soon as you press that, the sounds in the locomotive will come alive. You should have your sounds playing. We want to make sure that our remote's talking to our locomotive, so we'll press the whistle button. Do it again. So our remote is clearly talking to our locomotive. Distance of this remote to the train It's about 10-15 feet. You can experiment at home. It's an RF signal, radio frequency signal, that goes from this remote to the locomotive itself. Distance does play a role, so the further away you get from the locomotive, the more that signal degrades, and you may experience issues where you're hitting the remote, nothing's happening. It's most likely because you're too far away. Sometimes if you have the remote just laying on a flat surface and you're trying to run it, even though you're right next to the train, it won't work. Just pick the remote up so that the antenna's in the air, and we're good to go. So we've got the whistle button, bell button, and some remotes have a third button right underneath the throttle, and this is for announcements or music. In this case, it's an announcement.
All aboard! This is the Polar Express!
And to get the locomotive moving, simply take the throttle, turn it towards the green section of the remote, says forward, and the locomotive will begin moving forward. Turn it to top dead center, train will stop. Turn it towards the blue arrow, train will run a reverse. Now when you're done operating the train, something rather noteworthy, get the train up here for you. Once we're done operating the train and we're ready to be done with it and walk away, two things you need to do. One, turn the remote off by sliding the switch on the side. Second thing you want to do is you can leave the locomotive alone as it is sitting right here now with the sounds playing, and the internal processor in the locomotive will turn off after about 10 minutes. But those sounds are going to continue to play, which ultimately is going to have a drain on the batteries that are in the tender. The other thing that's going to happen is that red LED that's flickering inside the firebox, it's going to continue to flicker and ultimately will drain the batteries. So one of the easiest things you can do is simply uncouple the tender from the locomotive and pull that tether out from the engine itself. As you can hear, the sound shut off immediately, no LED drawing power from the batteries. In the long run, it'll save the battery life, and in the short term, it'll turn the sounds off. You don't have to listen to it anymore. Anytime you're ready to play with the train again, simply take the tether, plug it into the locomotive, LED starts to flicker, couple the tender to the locomotive, turn on the remote, hit the button, you're ready to go. Now, unfortunately, we don't have enough table space here to set this entire track up, but the locomotive can run and run and run. There's actually 3 speeds. 3 speeds in forward, 3 speeds in reverse. The way you attain those speeds is the more you turn this dial, the faster the locomotive will run. Placing it in top dead center puts the locomotive in neutral, or it stops, and then turning in reverse, again, you've got 3 speeds. The locomotive itself will pull probably 5 or 6 cars on a flat level surface. We do offer separate sail cars. We also offer a wide variety, well, not really a wide variety, but we have switches and curved tracks and straight tracks that we can offer that allow you to expand this layout. And great little entry-level set for youngster, 4 years and older. If you have any questions regarding this set, please feel free to contact Lionel Customer Service at the number on the screen. Thank you. When you're finished with the train and you're ready to put it away, one of the things we actually recommend to customers is to use the box that it came in. That polyfoam is custom designed for this set. Everything fits back into the track, into the box snugly, including the track, the car's locomotive remote. One thing that we do suggest very strongly is that you take the batteries out of the tender and also out of the remote. Batteries will have a tendency to leak, and that corrosion gets on those contacts, makes really poor contact with the new batteries that you put in the next time you take the train out. Just doesn't work out real well. Unfortunately, that battery leakage is not covered under warranty. So when you're ready to put the train away, pull the batteries out of the tender and also the remote, put the train set away. When you take it out next year, you'll be ready to go. Everything will be fresh. Put new batteries in the tender, in the remote, you're good to go. We hope this product video has been useful to you. If you have any questions at all, feel free to contact Lionel Customer Service, or you can email us at talktous@lionel.com. Thank you.